Hello, everyone. How is it going? Let me just fix this headset here. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Get things going here. What's going on? There we go. I'll wait for some other people to show up here. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's had my brother, Mythos. My brother, how's it going? So, we're going to have a bit of a quieter one tonight. Just wanted to go over stuff. Obviously, we're now in the Christmas season. I'm wearing my Christmas jammies right now, nice and comfy. Gotta get in the Christmas spirit. Lots of stuff to talk about though, right? Got about a week till Christmas, and as usual, I have done what all men should do and left my Christmas shopping till the very last moment. I might even just shopping till like 11 p.m. on the 24th. I really cut it close this year. That's how you do that. How's it going, Mythos, man? How's things been with you? I hope everything's cool now. Hope things have gotten less stressful for you. I know how that is. But stream, like I said there, it's going to be the last stream before Christmas. I'll probably end up, if I've got my scheduling right here. Yes, the 30th will be the next stream I do, and that'll be the end of the year. 2023 wrap up, talk about what's coming next, what was cool about this year, what wasn't so cool about this year, what I hope for next year. But this one's just kind of a free for all. I hadn't really planned much for this one. I did want to do a little bit of talking about some of the old world stuff because we saw. I know it's not something that has garnered as much attention as 40K, which has sort of always been the way with their stuff, but there's lots of cool old world stuff. I even dug out some of my old world models that I painted. Actually, funnily enough, most of these are painted more recently than Warhammer Fantasy's been around, so it's kind of fun. I'm obviously still chugging away at my Ultramarines. There's my lieutenant. I love this guy. I know it's not the best setup, just having a heavy bolt pistol and his master crafted bolter, but I don't know, there's something I like about this model. I like the details I put into it. He's got an Ultramarines sprue, the old sprue upgrade head there, so it's hard to see, I know, but he's got the laurel wreath on his head there, and of course I clipped off the standard magazine and threw on a Terminator, a Stormbolter magazine in there. Just all the extra ammo you can carry around so you can blaze away. It was just one of those things to make it look a little bit different. Slight little changes to the model to make it stand out a little bit more. This is before I'd really decided I was going to go full Primaris. It's one of those test models you get at Games Workshop, but it looks cool. And I've really fallen in love with the design of the new Tacticus armor, and the Primaris Marines they're huge, and I like it. I like it a lot. But the other thing I want to talk about mainly is the old world. Obviously, Warhammer the Old World is coming back, I believe 2024. Obviously, at this point, not sure exactly when. I know we got leaks about the release set for the Tomb Kings. We got some official stuff, and of course the leaks. But I've actually been taking my time reading through all the cool stuff that they've been putting out, and this game does feel like the old school Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Very much so. Even, all the artwork, or at least most of the artwork I've seen, comes from the old Warhammer Fantasy days. There's really not much here that I'm seeing that is brand new. It's like they put out. Maybe they're saving that up for when they actually release the game. But I'm just looking through the stuff here. The Old World Almanac, your first look at the rules, and it's got the strategy phase, which is new. And there's some subtle achievements. So you have the strategy phase. During the strategy phase, the active player tends to use enchantments or hex spells. So that's a bit different. usually it was just spells, right? And of course, attempting to rally and fleeing units. Movement phase is the same. But again, so they've kind of done, they've broken up spell casting a bit here. So there's no magic phase anymore. Much like they did with the psychic stuff in 40k. Now it's all over the place. So you have hex spells and enchantments in the strategy phase. The movement phase is where you declare declaration of charges, charge reactions, and the movement and charge units. After this comes a compulsory movement. Finally, your remaining movement is carried out, and conveyance spells are cast. So obviously, spells that allow you to move will be done there. The shooting phase, during shooting phase, you shoot with their armed with missile weapons, war machines, attempt to cast magic missile and magical vortex spells. So again, and then the combat phase, it's a hand-to-hand. So that's pretty cool. And there's different things here. And like I said, the artwork, I'm actually looking at the Games Workshop page here. And we'll talk about what I tend to do with the channel going in the new year. I'm going to get it so I can have everything on the screen. You guys can see what I can see too. There's enchanted items, different spells. Obviously, they're showing Bretonnian and they have the Falcon Horn of Fredmund. So that's an enchanted item. The ancient horn is used by the Grail companion Duke Fredmund of Aquitaine. When blown, it emits a piercing cry, and the skies become filled with flocks of hunting birds. During the command subphase of their turn, if they are not engaged in combat, the character may attempt to use the Falcon Horn of Fredmund by making a leadership test using their own unmodified leadership. If the test is passed until the next turn, start of the turn subphase, enemies cannot use the fly special rule. And there's an X to it. So obviously that X is going to maybe have distance. I don't know. And then you have the lore of Nehekara, which is a Djaf's incantation of Cursed Blade. So it's an enchantment, cast value 7+, range self, effect until your starting next turn, subphase. Any friendly unit that has a well, I'll say that 10 times fast. Nehekaran undead special roll, and that is to win, and that is within the caster's command range. Reroll any rolls to hit of a natural 1. And of course, rallying your troops is a big one. So there is some fun stuff there. Just gonna see what am I looking for here. Gonna have to go back here. So that's pretty cool stuff right there. I'm liking that already. I like the feel of the fact that we're actually starting to get back to the old fantasy stuff. I miss fantasy. It was, I want to talk about this in another video, but I'll talk about now. It was a stale commodity back in 2015. By the time 2015 had hit, fantasy was getting stale. I get why they got rid of it. I get why they got rid of. I get why they got rid of it for in favor of Age of Sigmar. It was getting stale. It was there's only so many times you can redo a unit. And it's the same thing now with 40k with the redoing basically the entire Space Marine line. So over the last 5-6 years, there's only so many iterations of tactical squads and devastator squads and assault squads you can do before it comes a time where it's like, okay, well, now we have to move with something different. Same thing with Warhammer Fantasy back in the day. There's only so many variations you can do of High Elf Spearmen, of handgunners, Empire handgunners, Empire Spearmen. Like, there's only so many things you can put out before you're okay. Everyone's got their 40, 50, 60 spearmen and all the other accoutrements that go along with it. There's only so many people, so many units you can buy before you're like, all right, I have a 2,000 point army. I don't need to buy anything else. Right? It's one of those things. So Games Workshop had tried stuff back in the day. In the last edition of Fantasy, they added a Hordes rule. Hello. Hi, Ashley. How's it going? Welcome. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Just a calmer one tonight. We're just talking about old world stuff. But they tried a Hordes rule. And what this was is, instead of taking your normal, say, 20 high elf spearmen, you could take like 40 high elf spearmen or 60 high elf spearmen. You could stretch them right out, have this mass. Me and Greg are messing with the printer. Oh, that's never fun. Hopefully it's not a. Is it like a technical problem, IT guy? No, hopefully it's nothing serious. But and so it was basically, they were saying like, well, hey, 3 units of 20 spearmen each is great, but if you tried 3 units of 60 spearmen each, oh, it's great. And it didn't work, right? Because people are like, well, I don't want to buy more spearmen. I want to buy more, halberdiers. I don't want to buy more skaven. I don't want to buy more orc boys. I don't want to. And again, you can only keep. I think they've done an okay job with 40K and keeping the story going beyond the 13th Black Crusade, but with Warhammer Fantasy, you can only say it's the end times so many times before it has to be the end times. And they finally did, and I think they ended it well. But I'm kind of glad they're going back, and I'm glad they're going far enough back in time that it shouldn't bump into the end times at all. There shouldn't be none of that stuff. There shouldn't be any of this end time stuff in it. And I know the narrative is going to be very much staying away from certain things. There's no vampire counts. Oh, I shouldn't say that. There will be a list for vampire counts. There just won't be a list for. There just won't be a list that's going to be updated. There will be lists. You can bring your vampire counts into it. I think the same thing with chaos demons. There will be lists so you can play them, but they're not going to be active members of the narrative. It's going to be orcs, dwarves, elves, empire, Bretonia, a few other things, right, that are going to be playing around. So the rest are Tomb Kings as well, obviously. The rest just aren't there. Skaven will not be part of that narrative again, and they'll probably put it on an army list so you can play with them. They're just not going to be a heavy part of the story. So that's going to be cool to see. Now, what else? We get the movement phase, which is pretty cool. Again, the artwork they're showing is the same stuff that I remember from the old books. Your close order and open order. So all your ranked troops, your skirmish, your lance, right? So close order is where everybody's back to back. You have your ranks. Skirmish, you're kind of open and free. And the lance formation, that's definitely big for your Bretonian knights. They love that. So you have your knights, the numbers go up as you go down, and you basically form that spirit of a lance. And of course, they have things for combat order and marching column, depending on how you want to. I'm not sure what those are going to do. So, with units of skirmish, should not rank up at all, so long as each mile is an inch of at least one of the comrades they can fan out. They tend to be high maneuver, harrying enemy units with missile fire and hit and fade flank charges. Yeah, I've seen that before. There was open order units still fight ranks meanwhile, but they are faster, more agile, and harder, and handle tough terrain better. Okay, so that's why you're going to have close combat and marching open. Movement phase still seems place. You can still move. You can hold, stand and shoot, or you flee, right? And countercharge, right? So lots of cool stuff. Again, depending on your unit, some just hold. I remember you hold with your spearmen when they attacked. I played Empire. Stand and shoot was pretty good with your handgunners, right? I'm not sure. I wonder if they're going to add +1 to shooting neighbors. Fantasy, if you never played Fantasy before, there was just a ton of cool rules for opening fire. If you're on a hill, you got a bonus to it to hit. There's a cool rule with the Empire that the first shot you add an extra 6 inches to it because the first shot, right? That was it. And then of course you got wheel maneuvers. That's always a big thing. So a lot of stuff is very similar. It's bringing back a lot of good memories. The shooting phase is pretty much the same. Let's see here. Come on. Loading up. There we go. Now they have done some things. So you have say the longbow here. Again, all these rules are showing it from Bretonia and the Tomb Kings. So the longbow, which is 30-inch range, strength 3, no AP, and armor bane 1 and volley fire. So those are cool. And they have the screaming catapult, which is 12 to 16-inch range. That's cool. Like the fact they brought back. So there are certain weapons, especially when it came to things like any sort of artillery. You had a minimum range and a maximum range. Most things you just have a minimum range. You just have the max range. They had a minimum range. So if you got within 12 inches, they couldn't fire. You're too close for the weapon to actually hurt you, right? Strength 4, parentheses 8, and AP -1, parentheses -3. Now they have added a lot of extra special rules, right? So it's got bombardment, covers some flaming attacks, macho attacks, move or shoot, multiple wounds, screaming skulls. Notes: this weapon shoots like a stone thrower using the bombardment special rule, a 3-inch blast template, and the stone thrower misfire table. Okay, the multiple wounds D3 plus 1 special rule applies only to a single model whose base lies underneath the central hole of the blast template. Ouch. So anybody who's under that hole in the template now, I should have brought my templates. So they're bringing the templates back, which is great. So you usually had 3 templates. You had one about this size, which was your the 3-inch blast template. We used to call it the small blast template. You had the large blast template, and then you had the flamer template. Now imagine a template starting in the back and going out like that, right? That was a flamethrower template, as we call it for 40K mostly, but just the flame template or your magic template. It was basically to show a massive blast of energy or flame or something coming out, right? So it's using a 3-inch. Let's see what it says here. Volley fire. First pick a target. Okay. Models can almost always shoot only once, no matter how many attacks they have in their profile, unless they have the volley fire special rule or a station hill. Okay, only the front rank may fire. Okay, see, so now they're stationary. That was the thing about being on a hill. If you're on a hill, your front rank and your bank rank can fire. You see a lot of people do that. They have, like, say, handgunners. You have 2 rows of handgunners. If they're flat, you just stretch them out because you want everybody to fire, right? Or a volley fire. That makes sense. The volley fire makes sense with the longbows because you wouldn't shoot straight up. You're shooting up so everybody can send out that arc of arrows. I'm caught. Rolling to hit is the same. Your ballistic skill. Obviously, this is going back in the day. We don't do it the same way in 40K anymore. But your ballistic skill is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. The higher, the better. Right, so your ballistic skill 5, you're hitting a 2+. Your ballistic skill 2, you're hitting a 5+. And the toughness chart is about. Oh, that's good. Glad they have the toughness chart back. So if you're like strength 4 and you're hitting strength 3, you're hitting on a 3+. If you're strength 10 and you're hitting anything under a strength 10, you're hitting on a 3+. Anything 8 strength, anything toughness 8 or lower is a 2+. So that's pretty cool. But there you go. Breath weapons are there. They got battle magic. The fireball. Okay. So it's a magic missile cast value 8+ range 5 inches. The enemy target suffers D strength 4 hits, each with an AP of 0 or dash. So the spell has a flaming attack special rule. And you the vortex of chaos. So obviously chaos is still there. It's still ever present. It's just not the same as you will see later on. They're just not that powerful yet. It got me thinking. Like I've been pulling out some stuff. I got this cool high elf spearman I painted out. And I did them in some of the traditional colors there. The nice white haft of the spear, some blues, silver, some gold trim. Now it's not super easy to see, but there's gold trim on there. And of course, I've got the old classic Empire Spearman there with the red and white of Talabheim. I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. And then, of course, one of the classic old school handgunners sitting there, right? The nice big feathers coming out of the hat, the long rifle. He's got all his gear in the back there, all his ammo packets and all that. So that's a lot of fun, right? Let's see. They've got covered pretty much everything up to army selection. That's the last one they have now. But it looks like combat is pretty much the same. That's what's before. You have choose and fight, calculate result, break test, and pursuit. Again, weapon skill against weapon skill. So your weapon skill, you have to compare. Things obviously changed now with Age of Sigmar and 40k, where you basically just have a number and you hit. Right, like a Space Marine hits on a 3+. No matter what you're facing up, you're getting on a 3+. It wasn't always that way. If you played old school 40k before 8th edition, your weapon skills compared to your opponents. So if you're a Space Marine of weapon skill 4 and you went up against another Space Marine of weapon skill, weapon skill 3, and weapon skill 4 against weapon skill 4, yeah, you're hitting on 4+. If you're weapon skill 4 against, say, guardsman of weapon skill 3, well, now I'm hitting on 3+. Right? So that's back again. Combat results again. Okay, so this is where things were cool back in the day. So you have a combat result table, right? Nowadays it's not the same, but you could actually stack things depending on what you had. So you had you'd fight and you determine who won, right? So you had unsaved wounds was 1 point each. You had a rank bonus. You got a point per rank. You got a point if you had a standard or battle standard. You had if it was a flank, you got a point. If it was a rear attack, you had 2 points. If you had the high ground, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff. So if I had a unit of these spearmen going against these guys, and I managed to flank them, boom! I hit them not on the front, not front to front, but they're sitting here, and I flanked them on my unit, and say I do 6 wounds, right? And then say they did 4 wounds back to me, and say I've got 3 ranks. Well, every rank after that first one, I would get a +1. So it was that 6 + 1. Say another rank +2. A flank attack, so it's another +1. And my standard, it's +1. So again, depending on how well you maneuvered your guys, you did well. They've changed up leadership. Looks break test example. Our sword masters have come off worse than their comrades. The stone trolls by striking first have lost by 3 points. They must now take place with 3 possible outcomes. Modified was lower than leadership. That's cool. And you can run people down. There's a whole bunch of spells for that. There's morale and psychology. That's good to see that back again. So you had your break tests, psychology, fear, terror, stupidity, animosity, frenzy, unbreakable, stubborn, and hatred. Those are all cool words to see them back again. So something called terror, or so things could be immune to psychology, right? So terror is even more severe. Using units causing fear for insult, the enemy's quaking in their boots. If an enemy's lower unit strength wishes to charge a fear-causing unit, must first take a leadership test or charge will fail. Already in combat with the scary regiment of skeleton warriors, take a leadership test or each rounder suffered -1 to hit. Terror is even worse. You're charging a unit charged by a beast with this effect. You have to take a leadership test just to be able to declare your charge action. If you fail, you flee. That's a 4 dice are rolled to see if the charge succeeds. Terror also applies an extra -1 penalty for opposing units' leadership characteristics when taking break tests, making a break and flee outcome much more likely. So yeah, so there's, and they have an example of a dragon or Shaggoth that's immune to psychology and it causes terror. Wow, that's pretty bad. Finally, we touch on Frenzy, which gives unit models in a unit extra attack and also immunity from fear and terror. A frenzied key unit, however, must always charge able, can never choose to flee from a charge. That's actually back in the day, I believe, if I remember correctly, there was chaos units, corner one specifically could have frenzy, and they just had to charge. You just could move and charge. You couldn't fall back. There was no real, leaking, no real sort of strategy to them. It was literally just charge, which makes sense for porn, right? Let's see if it's got leaking. That's pretty cool. They got things for battle lust, making your. That's cool. Magic has obviously changed as well. Hopefully, not too much. Obviously, like I said earlier, it's it seems to be broken down. So just having magic phases now in different phases of the game. Again, still a lot of the same artwork. Same enchantments, hex. So enchantments are spells on power casters' abilities. Hex is opposite enchantment spells that weaken enemies some way, perhaps slowing down or sapping their strength. Advance, the spell enables wizards to enhance movement or transport units from place to place. Magic missiles are obviously shooting boss of fire or whatever. Magic vortex, these are rolling globes of magic energy travel across the battlefield, breaking all kinds of havoc. Okay, so they are bringing back. So back in, I think they really kind of introduced, I think, in the last edition of Fantasy, like these massive spells that stayed on the table. So instead of just like spell and over, it kind of moved around. So obviously, magical vortex and assailments. These spells are deadly attacks that strike the foe without warning. Oh, and the miscast table is back. Nice. So it's a bit different now. So if you have a miscast, right? So obviously you can mess up your if a natural double one is rolled, making a casting roll, regardless of the casting result, has been miscast unless stated otherwise, he is not cast. Roll immediately miscast table to see. So yeah. So you roll 2d6, right? Adding the skill level of the caster, right? So back in the day, if you had like a wizard or a wizard board, they'd have different skill levels, and you'd add that skill level to your spell, right? So say I'm trying to cast, I don't know, whatever spell, a magic missile spell, and it needs an 8+, and I have 2d6, and I'm managed to roll 2 ones. Well, it's definitely not getting cast already. But now I have to roll on this miscast table to see what happens to me, because usually it's really, really bad. So you roll 2d6 on this table. Ooh, okay, so these are actually pretty funny. So you have Dimensional Cascade. That's the first one. So you roll 2 to 4 on this table. The summon magic breaks free, creating ethereal tornado. Center a 5-inch blast template over the wizard. Every model, friend or foe, whose base lies underneath the template risks of being hit and suffering a single strength 10 hit with an AP -4. Oh man, Calamity. All right, so that's gonna hurt. You're getting moved on a 2+ for most things, and you're not really gonna get armor save against that. If they do the same armor on the way, so if like this poor high elf here, he's right next to a elf wizard, and he double ones, and he rolls a dimensional cascade. The wizard's right here. This guy's getting hit with strength at AP -4 hit. Now, if they do armor the same way, he'd have light armor on this guy, no shield, so he'd have like a. Perhaps they might have a 5+ armor save, maybe a 6, probably a 5+ armor save. A shield, if they did the same way, what you do is instead of like this dude here, even back in the 40K, this guy had a 3+ armor save. There wasn't many things that could reduce that, for instance, not like they do now. So what you have for these guys, though, is you could actually improve armor. So you could start off with a high elf, or even this guy here, a nice spearman, would have, say, a 5+ armor save. If you gave him a shield, then he had a 4+ armor save. Again, depending on the version of the game you're playing. And like this poor chap here would have like a 6+ armor save, right? He's going to get smushed. So that sucks. And what would happen is you would get removed after that, right? So the Empire back in the day had the armor of meteoric iron, right? So it's metal that came from a meteor. The dwarves banged into place. It had a 1+ armor save. The a rolling one would always fail, but it basically meant that anything, it would be very hard to hurt this individual. But even this guy at -4, that's 2, 3, 4. You're getting 5+ armor save against that. Not good. Again, that's assuming they're doing the same way here. Then you have 5 to 6, calamitous detonation, roiling magic, explodes the wizard in a flash of light. Send a 3-inch blast template over the wizard. Every model, friend or foe, whose base lies underneath the template risks being hit and suffering a single strength 6 hit with an AP of 2. That sucks. We get 7 is Careless Conjuration. The wizard pronounces a syllable, causes a spell to backfire. Knocked on the ground, the wizard suffers a strength 4 hit with an AP of -1. So it's not so bad. The wizard himself just gets hurt, okay? Barely control power. The wizard manages to. That's like say we're at an 8 and 9 for the rolls. It's barely control power. The wizard manages to control the magic, but expense of great power. Spells cast as a casting value for the purpose of as at its casting value for the purpose of dispel attempts. However, you cannot attempt to cast any more spells to remain in the current turn. So that sucks. Again, it basically the higher you roll, it looks like in this chart, the better off you are, right? Okay, and then 10 to 12, power drain. The deafening boon, the summon magic's unleashed, and a natural calm descends. The spell's cast with perfect invocation. However, you cannot attempt to cast any more spells for the remainder of the current turn. Okay. So basically, if you do miscast, you want to roll really high on the 2d6 afterwards. Right, and then, of course, there's some binding and outclassed by art. It's cool. And then, of course, they give an example here of the damsels causing distress. You have the handmaidens of the lady. This is a big thing for Bretonia. They're all their magic users are handmaidens, right? So, it's good to see these stats again. So they've got movement, weapon skill, skill, strength, toughness, wounds, initiative, attacks, and leadership. So movement rates, I think anybody who's been new to the game knows about. Weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, wounds, initiative. So initiative, if you for the newer guys who don't know what initiative is, it's how fast you were in combat. So her initiative is 3. She's a wizard. They didn't really have high initiative. There's other units that have initiatives of 5, 6, 4. Some, like the lizard men of old, were like initiative 2. They were really slow. But again, they were super tough, right? You definitely don't want anyone like the handmaiden in combat. That's not what she's good at, right? So she's a troop type. Oh, you have a prophetess and a damsel. So there's a couple options here. She's got a hand weapon as her equipment. So magic. A prophetess is a level 3 wizard. A damsel's level 1 wizard. Every handmaid lady knows spells from one of the following magic: battle magic, elementalism, and illusion. Okay. And then you have options. Maybe mounted, so you get on a horse back there. That actually usually bumps up your armor save a bit, as it doesn't look like she's got any armor. So that's not good. Prophetess may be a level 4 wizard for 30 points. Purchase magic items of total of 100 points. A damsel may be a level 2 wizard for 30 points. Purchase magic items up to a total of 50 points. Right? Again, it sort of separates it, right? So you can, if you're playing a smaller game, you may want to have a damsel. You make her a level 2 wizard and you give her some sort of magical gear or something to help dispel a spell, or make a magic weapon or a magic bit of armor or something to help boost her magic. Of course, they have a whole bunch of special roll magic attacks, magic resistance, -2, shield of the lady, aura of the lady, blessings of the lady, lore of the lady. So obviously a lot of those, I have a feeling that anything that has of the lady in it will be in their rule book, right? And then you have the unicorn, right? So that will be your that'll be something you can ride on. Wow. Okay. So here, she's at her best when she's joined by a unit. Her aura confers magical attacks and magical resistance to the brave men and women she leads. So that's cool. So if you put her in with a unit of, say, knights on foot or whatever, all their attacks become magical, and they have magic resistance. And shield lady ability allows her to seek sanctuary in the back rank where she can cast her spell. Okay, so that's cool. So instead of, a lot of times when you have a rank of people, right, your hero, let's just say his hero, would be up in the front rank. She can be in the back rank, right? So way back here, able to cast her spells without any interference. She's not going to have to worry about a unit trying to get in combat with her right away, right? We got different things here. So we have battle magic, which is hammer hand, which is signature spell. It's an assailment, value 7+. The enemy unit, the caster gained in combat suffers 2d strength 4 hits, each an AP of -2. You have illusion, which is an enchantment. Until the next start of your next turn subphase, enemy units suffer a -1 modifier to any hit rolls made against a caster, any unit they've joined. If the spell is cast, the effects of the other enchantments previously cast any affected units immediately expire. Okay, that's cool. So you can't be doubling up effects, right? So say a glittering robe, which just makes them harder to hit. And you have storm call, which is elementalism. They'll start your next turn cell phase. A target enemy unit suffers -1 modifier to its movement and initiative characteristics. Spells cast the effects of another hex on the target. Okay, so they've made it sure you can't pile on hexes and all that, which is nice. So again, so if you cast it on, say, a already slow movement, it's already -1 in movement and initiative, so you can actually bog a unit down and keep them from getting where they need to be, which is good. And then you have universal special rules. This is cool. This is bringing back a lot of memories. I don't know. Have you guys? Did you even play fantasy back in the day? Is this bringing back any memories? Is this brand new to you? All right, and then we got Living Saints and Special Rules. The last one, say Grail Knights. This is cool. Now, a lot of these things, what you had is you had your Grail Knight, you had some sort of leader, and you had your Warhorse. Your Warhorse has always got an attack as well, right? I just don't know what the. So if we look at these guys, Grail Knights, 38 points per model. Movement 8 because of the horse. Their weapon skill 6. They're very good at fighting. The skills 2, which doesn't matter because they're not shooting anything. Strength and toughness 4, 1 wound each. Initiative 5, so they're pretty fast. 2 attacks and leadership 9. Now, the Grail Guardian will be your he'll be the leader. Obviously, he's got an extra attack, and then you have your Warhorse, which again, the thing about being unmounted and all that, the horses don't actually count for things like toughness or wounds. They're just sort of like your movement. They do have a weapon skill and a strength and initiative and a number of attacks, but there's no separating, there's extra attacks basically. So they have the Grey Knights of hand weapons, lances, heavy armor, and shields. And the returning horses of iron shod hooves, counts to happen, and barding. So the barding. So if I'm heavy armor, I believe. I'm just trying to think here. Gave you. I'm trying to remember now. Back to those days. I think heavy armor gave you like a 5+ armor save. The shield would make it a 4+. And being on the horse was a 3+, and the barding basically had a 2+ armor save, right? There's just a lot in between you. And then you can that was your unit, right? It was basically just Grail Knights. It was 3+. And then you had all these upgrades, right? So you can upgrade 1 model to Grail Guardian, your champion, 1 model Standard Bearer, 1 model to Musician. You could have, and you always wanted to do that because they always gave you bonuses, right? And you could purchase a magic standard worth up to 100 points, and you'd have options for different standards for different things. And a Grail Guardian, your champion, can take a single knightly virtue magic item of total 50 points, right? So it adds up. And of course, they've got Blessing the Lady, Close Order, Counter Charge, Finest Warhorses, First Charge, Lance Formation, Living Saint, Striff Ride, and Grail Vow. Let's see here. So Lance is combat, is strength +2, AP -2, and armor bane. So what are your strength with? So they're strength 4, so they become strength 6. They're AP -2 and armor bane 1. So it's armor bane. If a model with special rolls a natural 6 of making a roll wound, the armor piston characteristics of the weapon is proved by the amount shown by the brackets after the name of special roll. So if I take I charge a lance, I have my 2 attacks, I roll that up, and one of them's a 6. The first one, say I hit, to wound roll. So say I hit with both my attacks, and on one being strength 6, say I roll a 4 and a 6. So one of them's going to be at my AP -2. The one that rolled 6 is going to be AP -3. All right, it's not that bad. And there's a bunch of special rules for being of the lady, right? And we got Virtue of the Impetuous Knight. Right, model of the virtue gains the impetuous special. In addition, the model increases the maximum possible charge range by 3 inches. That's pretty cool. When this model and its unit makes a charge roll, you may apply the +D3 modifier to the result. Cool. And you can imagine the dragon slaying sword. So it's strength is the armor. You see, with fancy, it'll say strength will be S, which is just your normal strength. Magical attacks of Monster Slayer. So I'm not sure what Monster Slayer is right now. And you have the Blazing Banner. That's cool. So yeah, this is what you get. So you get your magic standard. So you have Blazing Banner. Unit carrying the Blazing Banner gains a flaming attack special roll. which will have its own special abilities on top of everything else you have, right? So all your units, everybody in that unit. So if we throw it on those Grail Knights, they all have now the flaming attack special rule. And it says here, elites such as Grail Knights generally have more universal special rules, but even though they are likes of Bretonnian squires, a few tricks that were sleeves. Move through cover, open order, peasantry, skirmishers, and vanguard. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of cool special rules. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, all the artwork is old stuff, and it looks good. I'm kind of glad that Bretonia is getting much deserved love first, because I remember we went through Fantasy. Everybody got stuff. Everybody got stuff in the last few editions, except Bretonia. Bretonia never got a thing. Now, there's a testament to how well made that book was, because even with all the changes, and there, yeah, they got a little things here. They got a few FAQs here and there to kind of bring the book in line, right? As best as Games Workshop could back in the day. And I gotta have a leak in this thing. Get water. As much as it had its own thing, a leak in this thing? That's unfortunate. It was a testament to how well that book was, because even Freak, what's up, my friend? Hello, good to have you, man. Like I say, it was a good testament to the to how well that book was done, and even at the end, Bretonians were still fighting, and there was a lot of cool stuff that came out of Bretonia in the last books. At the end times, there was a lot of cool stuff, and I'm wondering if we're going to see some of those characters. That's one of the questions. That's a big question I have for this new version. Are we going to see some of those characters back? Now, obviously, for some of the human characters, absolutely not. This is like 200 years or something before then, something like that. So we're not going to see any of the standard human characters that were around before the end times. They're just not going to be there. Dwarf characters, elf characters, I think so. I mean, we could see Teclis again and Tyrion, and we could see a whole bunch of characters, even some of the dwarf characters, right? They might be younger versions. Thorgrim Grudgebearer may not be a king. He could be some sort of thane or lord, but I don't think we're going to see any of those guys. Obviously, a lot of we could see Cetra the Imperishable again from the Tomb Kings. Again, it'll be hard to say. The one I'm looking forward to seeing again is a Green Knight. Now, the Green Knight was really, really cool. He was one of those special characters come in tied to the land of Bretonia. Of course, spoiler alert here. Obviously, it's years old. When the end times came, they finally revealed that the Green Knight was actually Gilles le Breton, the very first king of Bretonia. He was a Green Knight, so obviously he had, through his ties to the lady and all that, he became this magical being, right? So Green Knight was always really cool to see. But I'm excited to see who comes back, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun to just have these games again. I know a lot of places, a lot of people are excited to have the square bases back again, even though they are sizing them up. They're definitely pushing them up now from what they were before. I think they're going to be the minimum base size is going to be 25 millimeter now, just slightly bigger than like these guys here are on the wrong sizes now. They're too small. Right, they'll be on bigger bases. Obviously, I guess they still want to have the dynamic poses they can get. Obviously, a lot has changed since the day of all these. Like, if you look at these guys, they're just well ranked up. Right now, these guys are really old, but they were all like that, all the same direction, very close there. Or they stay on their base. There's not a lot going over. Spears usually out or straight up. Same thing with handgunners. You have lots like this, but you had some up, some on their shoulder, right? You definitely, everything was tried to squeeze it onto the base. Obviously, things have changed, so you have models. A lot of models were arms straight up or straight to the front or out to the side, but still with on their base, right? They were kind of up like this. There was nothing really out there. And character that did have a stand like that usually was on a bigger base already, and would be big enough and high enough off the ground that even with the arms out, he wasn't hitting anything, right? Now we'll see if they change that. Obviously, they want to keep the dynamics some of the models are making now, but still be on the same base. Yeah, I'm just looking here. So yeah, the base size 25 by 25 millimeter. And that's from the Handmaidens. So I'm not sure. And a unicorn is 40 by 60 millimeter monstrous cavalry. Armor Bane, armored hide. Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. So Pegasuses are back. Unicorns. Unicorns are usually for the maidens. I'm just going through the rules here again. Pretty cool. So let's see if they say anything about armor saves, how that works. Armor saves is normal, but they haven't really shown how they're going to. I'm assuming it's going to be, again, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, right? Because we're not sure, but originally you would build up your armor save by either having your light armor, heavy armor, plate mail was a big one. Empire Knights, plate mail, which I think a 4+ armor save, with a shield on a warhorse with barding. So you had like a 1+ armor save. Now the one always failed, but it was like a 4+ for plate mail. You had a shield, so you have a 3+. You were on a warhorse, which is a 2+, and it had barding. So you had a 1+ armor save. Now obviously that one always failed, like I said, but it made sure that things that hit hard were still giving you an armor save, right? But then you had things like your handgunners were like, they would be like -1 to your armor save because they're firing at you with like these, with black powder. And I believe, I'm not sure, again, I'm assuming, but back in the day, if I remember correctly, anything strength 4 and above was also -1 to your armor save. So if you had a handgunner, say this handgunner, this guy's got, just say he's got heavy armor, so you get 5+ armor save, and his handgunner's eyeing him up, and it's with strength 4 with AP -1, right? So strength 4 at -1, so it has 6. And then the AP -1 for being a black powder gun was like, he didn't get an armor save. Bang, right? If you could hit him, poof, done, right? Again, that's I'm just assuming based on the old school stuff. I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same, but it's cool to have these. It's bringing back some memories of firing off cannonballs. I was a sniper with my Empire grade cannons. I knew I could just boom, toast. I was a sniper with it. It was awesome. What was really cool is when you fired with a cannon, it had a cannon misfire dice, and then you actually roll dice to see where it landed. So say you were going to fire at someone, you had to see if it made it. Okay, it shot. All right, it made it. Did it just land on one guy? Did it hit where it's supposed to go? Yes, it did. Okay, so landed. Did it veer over this way, this way, this way, this way, right? So you'd have all these. You could go anywhere, but you could boom, and say it hit the first rank. Then you roll to see how far it went through. It could go through multiple ranks. You would hit one guy and hit every rank behind it, and or it could just miss completely and just drop dead in front of the unit, or fire off this way. It was crazy, but I was pretty good. I was able to. I remember back when they did the original Storm of Chaos, which again, Games Workshop had a habit of it now. They did the Storm of Chaos many years ago. And in the end, the Empire was saved by the Vampire Counts of all people. And then, of course, they came back into the end times later, just like when they did the original 13th Crusade. Chaos won, but the plan stayed, and it was kind of still a stalemate. But then, of course, they did the Fall of Cadia. Chaos definitely won that one. Right? But we were taking on, it was a mission where you were basically, I can't remember what it was. It was facing Archaon's Horde. And basically, you were outnumbered. You just, whatever you took, your Archaon's Horde got double. So if you build up 2,000 points, or no, they got an extra 1,000 points, I believe. So if you had 2,000 points, they had 3,000 points, and so on, right? So we knew we were, and I was Empire playing the Defender. We knew we were toast from the get-go. Your idea was to get your victory points back, right? So if you had 2,000 points, you would take out 2,000 points in the enemy armor. Yeah, enemy army. If you did that, you won. And this is back in the day when riders could be knocked off their horses, or you could kill the horses. Now, again, it depended. Like for Empire Knights or Bretonnian Knights, Grail Knights, it did happen. You were one and the same. But for some big characters like Archaon, you could take out your horse. And that was actually one of the big weaknesses of Archaon. If you killed his horse, you slowed him down because he was on foot. And he was usually with a mounted army, like a mounted unit. And it slowed the whole unit down. It slowed him down. So you're like, okay. And you always, like, when you fired him, like, please hit the horse. Please hit the bloody horse. And I fired off my shot, smacked right into him. Rolled the dice. I think it was 1, 2, 3 was the horse, 4, 5, 6 was Archaon. If I had Archaon, he was going to survive. He had the ward saves. He had all the armor. He was tough as nails. Right, he was going to be really hard to hurt. There's a very good chance that the cannonball was going to smash right into his shield and bounce right off like it didn't even exist. I rolled 2. It's hitting the horse. Horse was splattered. Right, just poof. And at the time, Archaon actually came with a he only came on the model with the horse, but you could get a special edition model of him on foot. This person had it, so all of a sudden, Archaon on horse, gone. Archaon on foot, so the whole unit down. Archaon was out for the rest of the battle. He just couldn't do anything. He was slowing everybody else down, which also meant his unit of chosen knights, Chaos Knights, were also out of the battle. So, of course, we still got completely skewered. We won because we were able to get our victory points back. We got you just didn't have enough. You knew you were going to die to the last man, so you just sat there and you just dived into it and hoped to God you didn't completely and totally die without need. You wanted to make sure every character, every model you had got at least one attack in to try to do as much damage to the enemy as possible. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see Archaon. I mean, we may. I think. So I don't know what they're going to do. I think the army lists aren't going to have a lot, unless you're an army that's going to be part of the narrative. I think when we get like a Chaos Warrior or a Chaos Demon or a Vampire Count's army, you're not going to have any characters. I mean, you'll definitely have lords and heroes like the old days, but none of them will be named. You're not going to have Archaon. You're not going to have Lavon Karstein. You're not going to have Manfred. The Skaven are going to be hidden away, so you're not going to have any of your named characters there. No Thankwell, he's not going to be there. Even for the Empire, whatever Empire Bretonnia, whatever characters they do get, you're not going to have Luan Leoncoeur from the Bretonnia. You're not going to have Karl Franz of the Empire. They don't exist yet. They're not born yet. So they'll have to come up with a new king. I know the Empire is supposed to be fractured with no emperor at this point. So I'm not sure they're going to do an Empire book. It's definitely going to be, it's like a civil war in the Empire. So there's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that story there. The dwarves are I believe, are part of it. I'm pretty sure the dwarves have stuff, and the wood elves may. I know the high elves do. I don't know if the dark elves do. I know the orcs do. Right, and I guess Grimgor Ironhide won't be there for the orcs. They'll have some other orc hero instead, right? So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I do hope that we get the Green Knight, though. I think the Green Knight will be awesome. I think he's gonna be cool. Talking makes thirsty work. But yeah, so as I said at the very beginning, this is gonna be my last stream before Christmas. So I'm not gonna be doing one next weekend. I'll be back on the 30th. I don't know how about you guys, but Christmas for me is always a bit stressful. I hope you guys are having a good Christmas. Hobby wise, I'm probably not going to do anything major until January, where I'm going to be. Yes, thank you. It is good to take some Christmas time off. Yeah, so I won't be doing one on the 23rd. Obviously, it's very close to Christmas. I got to make sure everything's done up. 30th, I'll be back. That's what we sort of do, an end of year chat before New Year's Day, or your New Year's Eve, I should say. I am going to be jumping into the mini. What is it? Who is it? Can't even think right now. I completely just blanked on it. Excuse me, guys. I'm trying to remember my brain here. Who is it? brain no worky. I literally forgot the name, and I don't know why. This is not fun. I can't even think right now. Give me a second here. Sorry, guys. I'm trying here. It is. There it is. Yes. The mini War Mutt challenge. That's what I'm doing. So January is when I'm gonna start painting stuff again. So come January, I'm gonna get my Reavers. I'm gonna do my very best to get my Reavers and my Reaver Lieutenant done. I know they're not the bestest of units, to say the least, but I'm definitely going to be trying to get. I'm gonna definitely get them done, and that'll be me getting back into things. I don't know about you guys, but this time of year is always always a always there's just all the stuff going on. You see family and all that, so the hobbying goes way down in December. But I think this mini warm-up challenge would be great. Back in January, start painting stuff up again. I definitely need to get some HQs done because I am sorely lacking now after everything disappeared or was sort of changed with the new codex. So I've only got my lieutenant now. Definitely got my lieutenant. I got Uriel Ventress to do up. I've got a whole bunch of different things to do up. So I definitely want to get some more HQs done. I want to get Lieutenant with combi weapon done up because the rules for him are freaking awesome. Running around just being a giant pain in the ass, killing stuff everywhere, anti-infantry everywhere. So he's wounding everything on the 4+, which is nice. He's gonna cause lots of problems, but I definitely got to get. I want to get those Reavers done. I know I always like the idea of terror troops for Space Marines, because they should be. These guys are giant, 8-foot tall killing machines. They've gotten even bigger than before. They're like 9 feet tall, 10 feet tall, monstrous killing machines, and just thick ass armor, massive weapons, even the Phobos armor, which I love the fact that it's still the same protection, but it's it's still thick plates of armor on this guy, but it's been stripped down to be even quieter, more stealthy, allow the Marine to move faster and be better at it. And these guys are like, they got the terror ability to them. They're scaring their enemies. I like it. I like it a lot. I know they're in terms of the fluff. I think there's a lot of flavor there. I know game wise, not that really good, but they all have precision now, which is nice. So they're able to target specific guys or heroes. I know there's a lot of competition in the meta scene. They're not big at all. They're people avoid them, but I think they're cool. So I'm going to paint them up. The rule of cool, as Mythos always says to me. So I'm definitely going to be getting those guys done up, and a lieutenant to lead them to give them lethal hits and just be nasty. I like it. Although it's really weird, they have AP -1 to their weapons, but he has nothing on his. He's AP 0, which I find funny. But the guy who's leading them does less armor penetration. Anyways, I don't know. It's Games Workshop. Who knows, right? Yeah, rule of cool, baby. It does. The rule of cool rules. It does. It's a great rule, right? So yeah, I definitely want to get those guys done, and then I want to get my Hellblasters done. I'm trying to go through my oldest models to the more recent ones, just because I want to get them all done up. I want to have a nice, sizable army again. And I'm trying to future-proof the army a bit. Like I said before, there's only so many tactical squads and devastator squads and all that stuff you can make before it is time to replace. I get why Games Workshop has done what it's done with the Age of Sigmar and 40K, replacing stuff. The games have gotten stale over the years. Fantasy got massively stale before it was done because it was the same game, right? Mini Warmat Olav, just talking about you. Just talking about you, Aaron. I was just saying, December, not a lot of hobbying going on, but I am saving up my hobby energy for January to do your challenge. It said I was going to get a squad of 5 Reavers and a Reaver Lieutenant done. Full of lasagna, man. That's good. That's lasagna's good. I like lasagna. I haven't lasagna in a while. Lasagna's good. They are all primed up and ready to go. I got 5 Reavers and the Reaver Lieutenant done up. I was just saying there, the rule of cool. I know they're not meta-wise in terms of competitiveness, They're nowhere near the top, but I just think they're cool. I love the Phobos armor. I think it's great looking armor. And if you caught it in the last little reveal they did for Space Marine 2, he is at one point wearing Phobos armor. It's really quick. It's sort of a blink and you miss a thing, but there is a scene where he is wearing Phobos armor. So obviously you're going to see Titus in the Tacticus armor, but at one point he will be in Phobos armor, which is cool. I'd love to see missions where you have to sneak. I think it'd be really cool to be a sneaky Marine. It seems to be a thing, right? So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I have to get a PlayStation 5 before that comes out. It's what, September of next year? Yeah, that'll be cool. But yeah, no, Christmas for me, it's a good time to spend time with family, but definitely hobby time. And what do you? The question I have for you guys is what hobby gift do you hope to get? And every models can be a new airbrush, a new bit of paints, a white door subscription. What hobby stuff do you want for Christmas? Let me know, guys. Let me know. The other thing I want to mention, I'm hesitant to mention this stuff because I don't like to toot my own horn. I'm not one of those people going, look how great I am. I'm the bestest of all time. But my last video I did, I have never gotten numbers like that before. My mind's a little blown, right? I'm waiting for Gulliman or Gaunt's Ghost. Yeah, Gaunt's Ghost would be cool. Gulliman's cool. I have him. That's one of the other models. I got Gulliman downstairs. I've started on him. I'm taking my time because I want him to look mint. The base is done, but now I have to work on him, and I've already started the base coat of blue. Just taking my time because there's a lot of gold on top of that blue, so I need to make my time. I don't want to dislodge or cover up any details. So he's got a lot of fiddly little bits and lots of spikiness to him, so must be very careful. But yeah, no, I did that video, and let's get rid of this fantasy stuff up here. And holy crap, oh, the Batman. I have not had a response like that. I don't even know. Like I don't even know what to say. Like I've gotten videos that have gotten lots of hits over over the years, but it takes time, right? Or got lots of views where it's like, it's like you go back and go, oh wow, look, that got 500 views, and I made it like 3 years ago. Or I've gotten like 1,000 views, but I made it like 6-7 years ago, and it's only gotten right now. This one's got over 1,000 views in 3 days. Wow, I don't know. That's unbelievable for me. I don't know. Wow, right? Well, thank you. Nice, thank you. It's boggling my mind, and it's all the comments are really nice. It's got a few dislikes, but that doesn't bother me at all. That comes with the territory. But wow, and there's stuff in there that got me thinking about the next video. I mentioned a little bit of it tonight, just in terms of saying, games can get stale. They do require updates. That's why, I made a video about, can we take old models and salvage them to fit into newer units without having to go crazy and buy all those new units, especially when I have a feeling. The example in the video I have is I have a bunch of Marines that went from being like a company veterans. They went from being like a command squad to company veterans to an assault squad at the beginning of this edition, now being transformed, once I get the glue, because I still haven't got the glue I need to get, being transformed into Vanguard assault veterans with the jump packs, right? So this unit has survived 4 editions now, if not more, at least from 7, 8, 9, 10. Obviously, there's a little bit of work to do it, but it's allowed me to keep these old models in. There were some good points made about, proxying models. If you have a captain that you really model you liked, you can put him in as your captain. It really doesn't matter. It's as long as they're on the same base, it doesn't really matter, and that's true. That's very true. But eventually, I have a feeling sometime in the non too distant future, when we hit 11th edition, whether it's 3 or 4 years from now, I think we're going to see the end of tactical squads. I think we're going to see the end of the Vanguard assault squads. I think we'll get some sort of veteran assault intercessors with jump packs. It just makes sense, right? Vanguards have been around for a while too. Eventually, they need to be replaced. I think we're going to see the end of Devastator squads. We'll see the end of probably see the end of Rhinos, Razorbacks, Predators, even Whirlwinds. Probably anything that's on that old chassis will go. We'll probably see. I mean, we've already got stuff that's replaced most of those anyways. We got the Impulsors. They have different options. We've got all the different big battle tanks, which do what the Predator does, but better. Eventually the Whirlwind will get replaced with something, if at all. Right? I don't see many Whirlwinds out there anyways, so they can get replaced. It really won't be, Razorbacks. All stuff will go. I think we'll still see in the future. We'll probably see Land Raiders stick around because Terminators, and we'll probably see drop pods stick around because you can fit, fit your new Marines in it. And of course, they've been showing out pictures of your new Stern Guard veterans pouring out of drop pods, right? So there's still that. I think we'll see those two models stick around, but I think everything else will disappear eventually. And plus, they'll make more room on their shelves in the stores and they won't have to make those molds anymore, keep around. Much as I love Predators and that whole old school feel to those models, eventually they too shall pass into the realm of legends, right? So I definitely want to start veering my army back to the Primaris side. This thing's really leaking, and I don't know why. Maybe it's coming out of the top. I don't know. But yeah, so I also asked, what does everybody want to see under their tree? I'm rhyming. What hobby gifts do you hope you get this year? I mean, I know I'll probably get a white dwarf and some paints, which is nice. That'll be nice for me. Something to read during the quiet times once the kids have exhausted themselves. Some more paints to paint with, which would be nice. But I think I definitely don't want any models. I definitely don't want any models for Christmas. I don't know. I already got so much to paint. I really don't need anything else to paint. So hopefully I'll be able. I can avoid any models and just get right to painting. It'll be good. But yeah, what would you guys like to? Mythos already said he wants to see either Guilliman or Gaunt's Ghost. Gaunt's Ghosts are cool. We'll see what happens with them. I mean, they're a really cool unit, but let's see. I'm gonna just check something here. I got the app. I want to see what they're so special about Gaunt's Ghost. Astra Militarum. Where are you, Mr. Gaunt? Gaunty. Gaunt's Ghost, okay. He's pretty cool. Have the same stat line, except for McCall, who's got a worse save. Oh, okay, no, they've all got worse. They've got the same stat lines. Okay, Gaunt's much better. Everybody's got invulnerable. Oh, Gaunt's got invulnerable save. Ranged weapons. We got bolt pistol, Bragg's autocannon, Corbeck's potshot las carbine, Larkin's long las carbine, Ron's las carbine. Nice melee weapons. We got Gaunt's chainsword, McColl's straight silver knife. Nice. So yeah, this is some cool stuff in here. Abilities. Let's see here. First, infiltrators on operative stealth. 10th camo cloaks, cool. So that's really cool. Orders. That's cool. I remember when it's cool. I mean, this is I like that, but I'm kind of hoping that they maybe add to it to add to the story. That's sort of Gaunt's Ghost right at the beginning of after the loss of Tanith. He hasn't got his power sword yet. I remember, back in the White Dwarf, they came up with Gaunt's Ghost rules. And so it was like a light infantry army, right? So you couldn't, no heavy weapon teams, no big tanks, just lots of infantry. and they had models. Obviously they got the models now for them, but they had a lot more models. You had Milo Bryn, you had their doctor, you had Larkin, and all the different characters. Tried again Bragg because he just was horrible at shooting stuff. But you could build a whole. They had that sort of command cadre of Gaunts, and then they had a bunch of other models of Gaunt's ghosts with either las carbines or plasma gun, and they had, I believe, one had the missile launcher. They called tread feathers. They were like a light missile launcher, right? Could still fire frag and crack missiles, but it was designed to be more compact and easier to move with. It was a light infantry scouting, right? So they weren't bursting through with sentinels and tanks and tons of chimeras. Right? It was all on foot. It was really cool. Great series. If you read it, please keep reading it. They were great. If you have it, please read it. They're great. I don't know. Gaunt's Ghost seems pretty cool. The models look amazing. Right? I actually have even Gaunt downstairs. I have the old metal one. I have to showcase that on somewhere. But yeah, still working on my Marine, so that's where I'm at. So that's where I'll end up after Christmas. I'm just going to take a look at him right now. I want to see what they got in there. No, I want God's Ghost. Thanks, Mythos. It's all your fault. All your fault. Armies of the Imperium, Master Militarum. That's what we got here. Oh, excuse me. Whoa. Where are you, God's Ghost? There we are, God's Ghost. All right, so we got Gaunt. I see Bragg there with his auto cannon. Yeah, so you got the Larkin with the long last, Trident and Bragg carries an Arcam with Corbeck, Ron, and McCall with last cameras. Each model is also equipped with frag grenades, a pair of signature straight silver knife. Almost straight silver knives are these special knives they had. Yeah, they're there with their last carbines. It's cool. I like the fact that they do have woods on them. Some of them have those branches, which is nice because it goes back to not only them being scouts, but also because their homeworld was a rather verdant forest, and they have all the Gaunt's ghosts, the original Gaunt's ghosts, to say, have this sort of supernatural ability to sort of know where they're going direction-wise. It's very hard for them to get lost, and that's apparently because there are trees on their planet. The forest would shift. And so it's like the people developed this sort of like extrasensory perception of direction. They always kind of knew where they had to go, regardless of what happened. Yes, they are so cool. But the list was a lot of fun. Let me see if I can find it here. Come on, army list. Let's see if I can find this here. This is really cool. Back in the day, that's not it. Is that it? Let's see here. Let's try to find. Oh yes, the good old chapter approved. Feral Orcs. No, that's not it. Tanith first and only. There we go. There we go. So Tanith first special rules, right? You may only take Tanith if your platoon's Tanith hard veterans or Tanith snipers if you take Commissar Gaunt and the command platoon's HQ choice. You'll need a copy of Codex Imperial Guard and Codex Catechans to use these rules. So yeah. Tanith Master Snipers. Tanith Hardy Veterans. Yeah, there's the models. The veterans are cool. And the Tanith Infantry Platoons. And of course, there's Colonel Commissar Abram Gaunt and Colonel Colm Corbeck. Chief Medical Officer Dorden. He was cool. And then Bryn Milo. Yes, Bryn Milo. They're Tanith pipes. He would go in the battle. There's a very cool Sharp. If you guys have ever seen the Sharp show with Sean Bean, there's a very big feel to them. These, chosen men, very specialized at what they do. But also got Master Sniper Mad Larkin, right? Very cool. Nice little list of army there, yeah. Bryn Milo, the Tanith pipes. Right, the pipes Milo plays in battle with a beneficial effect on Tanith morale. The same effect as a regimental standard, although it cannot be captured by the enemy. However, if he dies, all Tanith troops, including Gaunt, are -1 leadership for the rest of the game. So you don't want him to die. A lasgun, a camel cloak, a Tanith knife. He also has precognition, so he has a psychic ability. He innately knows when himself or Gaunt are about to come under attack and benefits the 4+ Marvel save that's also conferred to Gaunt, provides it to him. So you leave him with Gaunt, and he's going to get a chance to survive, and Gaunt was pretty cool, right? But this is it's a Gaunt that's later on, so he's got his bolt pistol, he's got the sword of Hiro Nemo. It's a master crafted power sword and hits a strength 4. This is including a profile buff, so he's strength 4 with his sword. That's cool, man. All stuff bringing back memories. I love it. Yeah, no, those are. I hope Beathus, I hope you do get either Guilliman or Gaunt's Ghost. I think those will be cool for you either way. Guilliman will be Hieronimo. Okay. Yeah, and then you try it again, Bragg. I'll get back in the day. I remember Try It Again. Bragg had actually a heavy bolter, not an auto cannon, but same difference. I remember reading about those books. It's really cool, and they've been through a lot. Unfortunately, a lot of these characters are dead now, so Gaunt's ghosts are significantly different from when they were first the ghosts of Tanith. Unfortunately, many have died or been gone on. I know. Our little friend Milo there. Milo. He went off with the Saint Sabbath. I was so shook when Bragg was. That was. Every time they've killed off one, you kind of feel there's attachment to it because they did such a wonderful job of making them seem more than just a military unit. There is a brotherhood there. They are, even when you have certain members hating the other members and wanting to kill them, there's still a camaraderie and a brotherhood that's built up through all the trials that they go through and all the pain and the betrayals. Part of this massive campaign to take back the Savage Worlds. So when they started killing them off, it was a kick in the guts a few times. I'm just gonna look this up here because I can't remember all who's died at this point. Let's see here. Let's see here. So yeah, you have Bragg there. Trying to see here. They've got the different planets here. I know eventually he died. All passed away at some point. I think it was. Just trying to see if they got Milo here. I've got Calm Korbeck. I don't know if he died. Did he die? Yeah, that's right. Out of respect. Yes, he died. Let's say badly wounded several times in his career. Corbett was shot dead by Trace Trooper Elijah Koo while protecting the Betty on Herodor. Out of for a Spectre's ghost friend, Gaunt has Corbett buried a coffin made completely from Nalwood, a type of native tanth extremely rare after the plant's destruction. Say the BT or Betty was the is Saint Sabbath. That's one of the big things that they have there. Yeah, oh god, the Sabbath Crusades are such a massive thing. I could read that for hours. Yeah, yeah. Well, that was the thing. I personally think that they did a good job of writing those characters, and I'm pretty sure they took a lot of inspiration from the Sharp books and movies. Because if you watch those, it's there's a lot of the same. There's a lot of similarities between someone like Sharp and Gaunt, right? Both men out of place. Gaunt's commissar. He's meant to lead with fear and to ensure the loyalty of all the imperial men and women around him, regardless of their rank. It doesn't matter if the captain, but to become a colonel commissar, to suddenly be leading this unit and having to change the way he leads, because he can't just start executing people. I mean, these men, there's not many left. But to it very mirrors Sharp going from a sergeant in the 95th Rifles to all of a sudden being a lieutenant and then being put in charge of men and eventually becoming going up to a major and beyond. It's there's a lot of having these sort of scruffy, no good ne'er do wells suddenly becoming his these really great riflemen and building those bonds. There's a whole bunch of massive similarities in there. I love that series. I love both series, but no, I definitely think it's I hope you get Gaunt's Ghost. I think he'll do a great job with them. I think he'll be a great addition to your Astra Militarum there. Heck, if you want to try your hand, I tried my hand. I didn't do it making their camo cloaks. Everyone's got a camo cloak in that army. It was really cool, right? But again, super light infantry. You gotta give up the tanks and the sentinels, and it's all infantry. Lots and lots of infantry and snipers. Lots of snipers. That's what they're good at, right? Which isn't too bad. Snipers are not that bad nowadays. Lots of precision shots, right? At least that's what I think it had there, especially for poor Larkin. I think he bit the dust as well, did he not? Yeah, you got Larkin's long last. Yeah, strength 5, AP -2, damage 4. Ouch. Heavy precision. And you got Ron's last carbine, which is 3 shots. That's not bad. The hot shot last carbine, 3 shots. There's a lot of firepower coming out of that small unit. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I think it was Ron who hated Gaunt and tried to kill him on a number of occasions, if I remember correctly. He was not a fan of that. Not a fan of him at all. I'm printing some Tanith to use as Catacan. There you go. There you go. Lots of, again, Catacan is very similar in certain ways. Lots of infantry. I mean, they use the big tanks too, but Tanith was very light infantry. They didn't have a lot of the same things. I remember in some of the books they would team them up with other. He was. Yeah, that's the thing. Again, that kind of goes back to again, why I draw the parallels to Sharp. The same thing Sharp has when he gets put in charge. The guy, the kind of the go-to guy of his chosen men, hates him, fights him, beats him up, threatens him at one point to kill him. He's going to go with everybody else, and eventually he becomes his best friend to a point where Sharp's brought him back into action to go to India to save him because he was a spy for Wellington, right? So, but I didn't like Ron at first, but yeah, they all had great character growth. I always loved Try It Again Bragg, right? Because he'd blast away with every weapon, and whether it was a heavy bolt or autocannon or one of the tread feathers or the missiles there, he completely missed the target. They all shout, "Try it again, Bragg," and he'd try it again. There was almost a childlike simplicity to Bragg. He was cool, but hopefully, I've read a lot of the books. I haven't read the most recent one, so I'm not sure. I hope they get back to them at some point. Or maybe wrap up the whole crusade, finally given an ending, right? I think certain stories need to have a bit of ending. Maybe give Gaunt to retirement and what's left or whatever's left of the Tanith, because they've brought in other destroyed regiments to fill up their numbers. So the Tanith first only that at the end of the last book is nothing like the one at the beginning, right? Obviously. So I would love to see Gaunt get a I mean, happy endings are hard to come by in 40K, right? But I'd love to see Gaunt allowed to retire on a planet. Get his final bit of action and retire somewhere, and or maybe go to whatever new planet Tanith gets, and they can rename it New Tanith, and he can start training up the next of the first regiments for this new Tanith, and hopefully not have the same problem that happened the first time, right? Having Chaos Swarm your planet destroyed, it's usually not a good thing. So I don't know. I'd like to see that maybe just sort of starting over again. He's finally able to stop and go, okay, time to train the new Tanith and see what happens. Hopefully we can not have everything blown up this time. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see that. I mean, obviously we're coming up. I think there's one book left of the Horus Heresy after the End and the Death Part 2. So I'd like to see that. I mean, I don't know where they're going to go after that. There's the scouring they could do, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then more stuff to look forward to in the future. Excuse me. But it's some of that stuff I want to talk about in the on the 30th when I do my last one of the year. Just sort of that one's going to be cool, sort of end of the year roundup and sort of look forward to the future, see what happens, see what we can look forward to in the next bit there. But yeah. Didn't like Ron. Yeah, no, Ron had great character growth. They all did. I think that was really cool. And the fact that you had I think Milo's still out there, isn't he? I can't remember, but I think he's still out there with the Saint. Again, the whole thing's very confusing. Their timelines are kind of meshed up. Again, that's sort of traveling through the warp for you. But I'm pretty sure it takes place a while before what's happened in the current, the whole Imperium Nihilus and all that. So I don't know. There's been kind of some weird stuff in there. I know. And the other, speaking of, let's talk about Astro Terra. Apparently, there's a big rumor going around that Gaunt might be coming back. Not Gaunt, sorry. I mean, Gaunt will come back eventually, but Yarrick may be coming back. That it was all a lie. And I love the Mika Les books. The newest books that came out this year was not as good as the previous books. And how was it not as good? Just the way he said it was not as good as the previous books. Yeah, Minka Lesk has been pretty cool. Again, I think they've kind of they've kind of put Cadian stories out there. They're very much like what happened with Gaunt's Ghost. Obviously, Tanith destroyed. Now Katie is gone. So the surviving regiments out there are sort of the they basically have to try and hold on to what made Cadia so great and hopefully rebuild somewhere. I think I would love to see. I love to see them. There'd be a new Cadia somewhere. You get to resettle and rebuild and show the evil forces of chaos that you can't crush Cadia, right? The whole planet fell before the Guard did. Well, the Guard are still out there, so I don't think Cadia will ever truly fall, but who knows? But I was saying there, I think Yarrick may be coming back. That's a big rumor now that I've been hearing, and it's been driven all over the interwebs that Yarrick is not dead. It's all Imperial propaganda, and he could be coming back. I don't know. I'd like to. I think it'd be cool if Yarrick made a big comeback. His old Baelite was pretty cool, and I'd like to see him come back. Again, it was one of those ones that was a really old model that just kind of needed to be retired, right? And we've had so many new models come up for the Astro Terra. It's great. right? I don't know. I mean, they've got Ursula Creed now, and she's had her big story, and going back to the ruins of Cadia to find survivors there still fighting away, and then fighting the last message of her father. Let me see here. I'm just going to look this up because that's pretty cool. Let's go. Let's see here. Ursula J. Creed. Can't find that right now, but definitely they're one of her big stories. So, what didn't you like about the new books as opposed to the old ones? Because it's cool to know why you think some books have reached a certain level and the other ones failed to reach the same level. Please let us know, Mythos. I know I haven't read any of her books yet. I've seen the covers, and obviously there's the model for it, and I've read up on some of the stories. I know, but I haven't actually read the book. So, excuse me. Well, the last book I just read was The Infinite and the Divine, which is all about two of those horrible Necron characters, Orcan Diviner and Trajan the Infinite, and their 5,000-year grudge match. It was a great book. If you haven't read it, it's hilarious. The cause and effect those two cause on each other to the point of insanity is amazing, and they're using their abilities and all their almost godlike technological powers and the crap they do to planets just to get a one up on each other. It's hilarious. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, please do. It's just all the stuff they do, and of course, in the end, it all goes to pot anyways because they end up messing around with stuff they probably shouldn't have messed around, which was kind of one of the things with Necrons. If it's too good to be true, you probably shouldn't do it. And the book says the same thing, right? But anyway, so that's all I kind of wanted to say for this one. I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas, and I hope you get lots of cool hobby stuff. I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope you get to spend time with family. I hope it's as stress-free as possible. I know for me, this year has been stressful. The whole year has just been a big ball of stress. And, the different conditions around the world right now aren't really helping that. But I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. We'll see you on the other side of it. I hope you guys just have a wonderful time, and it's a lot of love and lots of smiles and laughter. Hopefully you can get some books. Mythos, I hope the next books are fun and maybe get back to the level you think they should at. I hope you get Gaunt's Ghost so you can paint those guys up. I'd love to see that. I'm looking forward to the mini Warmutt challenge in January. I want to get those Reavers done up. I think they'll be a nice little addition to my army. It's fun. It's funny. I find something funny. For the longest time, I remember my Space Marine Army's been lots and lots of shooting. Tanto squads, Devastator squads, Sniper Scout squads. Now with everything I've got, Assault Intercessors, my Infernus Marines, these Reavers I want to paint up, Aggressors, everything seems to be geared more towards the close combat. It's like my army's gone from long range to close range shooting to close range to close combat. So we'll see what happens right. Once you get the Reavers, the Hellblast has been nice at some long range firepower, but it's funny to see it change like that. So, but yeah, I wish the same for you, my brother. Big love. Hey, I know we had Thanksgiving, both Thanksgivings, the Canadian, the correct one, obviously, and that weird American one. Jeez. But I am thankful. That's the other thing. I'll mention now. I'll mention again. I'm very thankful for every person who has watched these things, who's commented, who has left a like button, who's followed along in my insanity. I think I'm getting better at this. I'm definitely nowhere near a pro, but I just want to thank everybody who's taken the time to follow along. I mean, the last video, wow! I can't thank you guys enough for the views, whether you liked it or not. Just wow! I've never had a video response like that. Who knows, if I may never again, but it was great to see. I'll be putting out another video before the 30th. But yeah, until then, guys, thank you very much again. I just truly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Christmas. However Happy Hanukkah, however you celebrate or choose not to celebrate, however you do it, I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope you have a great time. I hope there's a lot of love and happiness for everybody. And with that, I will bid you adieu for this one. Thank you very much, guys. Keep rolling those dice. I will see you later. Bye.